Bro,
I gotta do that every time.
dude,
It's like, it's only right.
welcome to the show. We're good?
Good.
We're on. Welcome
Solid. Thank
to
you.
the show, bro. Welcome back, actually.
Thank you.
It's
good
been
to be
8
back.
months, and I had mentioned before we popped on that it looks like you got taller. You're young enough to still be in a growth spurt. Me, I stopped growing about 10 years ago.
I think I got another 10 years to look forward to. We'll see. Maybe I'll finally hit 6 feet.
Yeah. I mean, you look like you're gonna.
That's the goal.
How old are you, anyways?
That's not open for discussion.
I think the last time you were here, we kind of went through that whole situation.
Yeah,
too,
no,
yeah?
I didn't say it then either. I don't speak on my age. That's
Why
a
not?
taboo topic. I could be like 30 and nobody would know.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think for me, age-wise, I think I look young. Everyone says I look young for my age, but I've always wondered why age is sort of this taboo thing.
That's why I don't.
Even up to now, like
Yeah.
with like women, when I ask them, like, hey, how old are you? They're like, really? You're asking me how old I am? Like,
Do I
really?
look old? Like that's why I don't really.
I'm like, what's wrong with it? You know, you kind of it's like a good it's a good gauge. I think people think it's a physical thing, but it's more of a mental thing. You know,
Yeah.
if you know how old someone is, you kind of can like gauge on I guess the mentality that you sit on versus them. Like a younger person would have a different mentality than someone who's say my age compared to talking to someone who's much younger.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. That's part of the reason why I don't like to like tell people my age or speak on my age.
Yeah.
Cause I am pretty young, but people like right off the bat they never assume that. Cause
Right.
I always felt like I never acted like a lot of kids my age. I'm not saying I don't act like my age group.
Did you grow up hanging around older people a lot?
Yeah, I did. So, growing up, I was an only child, and I was in a weird generation in my family where I was one of like two children that were born at that area in the family.
Okay.
So it was either I hung out with my older cousins who were like 7 to 8 years older than me, or
Right.
my younger cousins that were like 3 to 4 years.
So
older.
heavy influence from the beginning.
Yeah.
As a young.
So I always hung out with the older kids because they were always more interesting to me.
Right.
The little kids always bored me, and then kids my age were just not interested in the same things I was.
Right. My sister's 4 years older than me, and I remember hanging out with like her friends and people she knew that were older than her, and that's what got me into punk rock music, skateboarding, hacky sack.
That's how my mom. I just hung out with my mom.
Yeah.
She loved that stuff. Like
that's what sort of helped shape you too.
yeah, like cause like I was an only child. It was just me and my mom most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like all of my exposures to music was because of my mom. So all of my favorite bands, like my favorite artists, what I find interesting, it all comes from her. But of course, she wasn't the type that's like, oh, this is interesting. She's like, hey, what do you think about this?
What was sort of her genre of music that she was listening to?
Dude, it was crazy because she jumped around.
Yeah.
Like she
Is it
would
like an
jump.
old soul type, or is it like
No, it
like
was
more
she was,
modern
she's young,
rap,
so she
hip-hop?
kind of like jumped around.
Okay.
It was never a specific timeline or a specific genre. It was really just what sounded good to her.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go from like punk rock to deathcore to pop music to old jazz music. So it really jumped around a lot. So I kind of appreciate that because I never grew up listening to one certain genre.
Yeah.
So that's cool to me because I never noticed how many like kids are so heavily influenced by one genre because that's all they heard listening,
Right.
like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So like my mom, like I didn't even know Michael Jackson was famous when I first heard him.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him, but she played one song. I don't remember what it is. I think it was Smooth Criminal. And I was just like, who is this? She's like, oh, it's Michael Jackson. She didn't say anything after that.
How
She, like,
old were you?
I think I was like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty young. Me, I think I was exposed to Michael Jackson at an extremely young age.
Yeah.
Right. He was like the super pop star of the '80s.
See, I didn't know that.
My parents were products of the '80s.
Mhm.
Right. They were adults. Teens in the '70s, but
Yeah.
in the '80s they were already full blown adults. And
Yeah, so they already had that time to figure out what they liked already.
Yeah.
It's already in that area of where they're like, okay, this is what I like, so this is what I'm gonna stick to.
Yeah. My parents were really heavy into the R&B. We would always see
Oh, so like the old school R&B.
Yeah, and then early '90s like Corrado and.
See, you know what's crazy? My mom didn't like that. She went. I don't remember what she used to listen to, but I know from what I observed growing up, her biggest influence was '90s grunge.
Nirvana.
And you know what's crazy? I don't even like Nirvana.
They are the
Pearl Jam
they
guy.
are the basis of.
They are, but I love Pearl Jam. I was Team Pearl Jam.
Okay. Yeah, because there's some sort of like debate, right, between who started the grunge movement. Exactly. Because they're both from Washington.
Yeah, I give Nirvana their props because I know Nirvana was part of Sub Pop, which was the record label based out in Seattle, which they were a part of. And I got to go visit that when I went to go visit. But growing up, like I had a chance to listen to both Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and just at the time as I was growing up, I liked Pearl Jam more. But I really liked certain songs from Nirvana, but people won't let that go. It's like 2 days ago I was like, oh, I don't even know who UB40 is.
Dude,
I really don't.
That blows my mind.
See, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, those artists that you know their songs but you don't know who they are. Like I watched someone's story and I heard one of their songs. I was like, oh, so that's who they are.
Oh, they sing that song.
Yeah, see, but you know, you always have those artists, and UB40 was one of them, and I just never took the time to be like, well, okay, this is UB40.
And you're coming from you're coming from a generation. I think both of us we're kind of slightly out of each other's generations.
Yeah.
You are growing up in a generation, and grew up in a generation where musicians were just flying out the doors.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're
everywhere. Music from SoundCloud to.
It's so stupid. There's so much bad music out there. It kind of hurts. But no, that's fucking true.
And for us, it was really, or for me growing up, I don't know if Matt can speak the same, but for me growing up, it was whoever was popular. There was
because
I wasn't around this underground.
There was a lot of radio.
Yeah, it took my sister having to meet someone for me to meet somebody or meet that same person to get me into rock music,
right,
grunge music,
right,
and punk rock music, and get into skateboarding. But now, literally, a kid
they could just go to YouTube.
Anything.
It's on their suggested, and they click on it. If they like it, they like it.
All right.
So that's super cool, and I'm honestly like super, like how there's a lot of people my age. They're like, oh, I'm born in the wrong generation. Or I'm born, I don't think I am. I love this generation. It's so accessible to do anything.
For sure.
You could figure out anything just by going to Google.
Right.
Like, just because you think that like the fashion was cool, like the vibe was different back in like the 70s or 80s, doesn't mean you're going to love it more than you do now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be trying to go on your phone and there's no phone.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if they were born in that generation, it'd be cool. But I think just in the generation we're in now, with who I am as a person, I think it's super, super convenient. Right. 'Cause I'm super lazy.
When did you start figuring out that you've tapped into the artistic side of you? Is this something that you've always like secretly done on the side, or? So
when I was a kid, I was always into sports. Played football. I've been doing jiu-jitsu since I was like 8, so that was my outlet. And then I think I was around 6th or 7th grade. Then I kind of stopped doing sports because my grades weren't there. I kind of stopped caring about my grades. I was like, oh, if I do sports, I'm fine. Yeah. And then I wasn't allowed to do sports because my grades sucked. Granted, I was lazy. I didn't do homework. I didn't focus in class. I was falling asleep.
Yeah.
And, at that point, I didn't have an outlet, so I was just pissed off all the time. I was moody. I think that's when my depression started to kick in because I didn't have an outlet anymore. So it got really bad. And then one day, my mom noticed me. She just came up to me. She was like, what's on your mind? She's like, oh, I was just like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, okay. She gave me a piece of paper. She sat me on the table. She's like, I want you to sit here for an hour and write all of the things that come to your mind. And then took that hour. I needed like 3 more pieces of paper. And then she read it all. She was like, okay, so every time you're feeling some type of way or whatever interesting thought comes to your mind, I want you to write it down. So that was my start. So it turned into just writing down. She
planted the seed, huh?
Yeah, because she was always the type. She's not. She was somewhat disciplinary, but she understood.
She was open to allowing you to express yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, if I was pissed off at something, she wanted to know why I was mad. If I was justified in why I was angry, then she wouldn't get mad.
Right.
But if I was just being a silly bitch, then she'd be like, all right, quit being a bitch.
Yeah.
So, like, that was my first, like, real exposure. And then 8th grade came along, and then we had, like, poetry workshops. So that kind of helped tap what I was really thinking into a compressed version, where I could just like use metaphors and whatnot to like somewhat maybe not hide what I'm actually trying to say, but maybe just shorten it, because I'm a lazy motherfucker. So any opportunity I could take to not write as much as I had to, I was gonna do that. And that was like my first like real exposure to poetry. Then it went into like rock music that I related to as an angsty emo teen, and then it went into liking rap music and finding rap artists that I like. And then eventually, when I was in high school, like dabbling in rap. And then next thing you know, I was just like, oh, hey, this is easy. I could do this. I'm better than a lot of these people. So I was like, why not?
Seems like it came naturally to you.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, I actually like enjoy it.
Yeah,
I never expected to enjoy it, to be honest.
I was listening to your stuff when you dropped it, man, and your style is very, very unique, extremely unique. I enjoyed it. ASMR was, man, it's a short song, but dude, it hits, bro.
I had so much fun making that song.
Yeah, dude, I don't know what it is. I want to know first. How come I can't find it now?
Okay, so we're supposed to like kind of keep this low, but there was a typo on the EP title, and then on the album cover, they're spelled differently. So
for the name of the album?
Yeah. So it's just like one letter slightly different.
Like it was Crux I Fix, right?
Yeah, and then in the album cover it's like CRU-X-I Fix. So we're fixing that right now. It should be up either today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've been getting a lot of complaints. I have a lot of people like on my ass about that. I'm like, just fucking calm down. It'll be back up.
Matt was just asking me, he's like, dude, where do I find that? I was like, dude, I think it's off.
Yeah, no, it'll be back up. But it was like a lot of my friends that were like, oh, I can't find ASMR. And honestly, I didn't think ASMR was gonna be the one.
Yeah.
It was just something that was fun. I needed something extra on there, so I was like, because I wanted every song on the EP to be different.
Yeah.
And I think if I chose a different song other than ASMR, 2 of the songs would have sounded the same.
Right.
That would have totally went against what I was trying to do.
I can't even explain I wish we can listen to it right now. I mean, I can't even explain your style. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It seems like you found yourself in that sense artistically, and it's something that you sort of stuck with. I can't even compare you to any other rapper. Like a mystical.
Honestly, it for me, I don't like comparisons. So it's not like I purposely try to go against the grain.
Yeah.
It's just whatever's fun.
When did you start realizing the developmental style, and this is something that, or during the development, the style that you were kind of like catering your art to, and that you were going to stick to it?
Oh, like with my style of creating.
Right. I mean, at least like the music, right? Or does it depend on the beat that's being laid?
I would say that, but the cool thing is with my producer, he kind of like every time him and I link up, and it's really often because his girlfriend is my cousin.
Okay.
And she's the other family member I was telling you about, how we were born into the same generation.
Okay.
But we only had 2 groups to choose from. So her and I hung out a lot.
She was here.
Yeah, they were here.
Right.
So he kind of like feeds off my mood, or like he'll kind of hear what I'm mumbling when I'm writing, and then a beat will come up and it's just perfect. So it's kind of like he feeds off of me, and then I'll feed off of that in turn. In the beginning, we did want to have a definite sound, but then as both of us kept working together, we realized that we were having so much more fun creating weird shit.
Whatever you wanted.
Yeah. So I think not having a definite sound and just being able to like experiment and be like, oh, that synth sounds fucking stupid, but I love it.
Yeah.
You know, having that freedom I think at least artistically, it gives us an edge because we both somewhat grew up on the same kind of music. It's like I loved screamo growing up, and then look at me, I'm fucking rapping. Like, who does that? Right. I was in a deathcore band my sophomore year of high school. Like, I would have never seen this. So having all of those experiences, and then we put that into our music. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of it is in the drums. Like the drums will like totally change anything. But I don't think I ever really like noticed that I had found a style. It was more so like I would be writing, and some of it, like some of the flows would be similar, or some of the drums would be similar. But I think that's just what it just comes off of what we like. We weren't really making anything for anyone else to enjoy. It was just we wanted to do this, so we did it. Right. And then that the collaboration with Jed and Trips happened, and then it was just organic from there. They gave us the freedom to do whatever the fuck we wanted, and
yeah.
That came out with the EP, and then
Did you feel any pressure to have to drop an EP, or is this something that's always been in the works?
Not at all, honestly. So I knew I wanted to drop an EP. It was honestly supposed to drop, or I had planned to drop it in November. Yeah. But I wasn't happy yet. And the second song on the EP I had recorded over a year ago. I had dropped it over a year ago on SoundCloud. So, like, I've actually been working on
that was a Suck Fit?
Supplement, yeah. Supplement.
I don't know if I heard it.
Yeah, it's one of my older songs. It's like
Is it on Spotify?
It's on SoundCloud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See if you can jump on SoundCloud. Let's see.
But that one, because I started working on the EP by myself. My first track I dropped solo was October 2017. And from there, I had just stockpiled lyrics and songs. Then I linked up with my producer. Him and I did 2 songs together, and then with Jed. And then I had just been stockpiling and working on music since then. And then the EP was supposed to drop. And then I was like, there's something missing in here. So I did one more. Track. It took me like maybe 2.5 months to write. Yeah, this one. Yeah. So this one was I think the second drop with my producer, yeah.
Same producer.
Yeah. So this one how we recorded this, my friend Ethan and Brandon were there when I recorded this. We had this really like janky setup. We had a mic, a short ass USB cable, and I was under a blanket. And it wasn't a thick blanket either. It was like a really thin blanket. Right. So we're under the blanket, and the house is super quiet, but you just hear me like screaming at the top of my lungs. It's like the funniest thing ever, and you could just like, after I came out, they're just sitting there, and I'm like, this is like really weird. But yeah, I actually, I think about six months before I actually recorded this, I had written the song already. So I had everything written. I knew the type of beat I wanted. I knew how I wanted it to sound. So right when him and I linked up and we did our first song, I was like, okay, right after we recorded that, I was like, I need the piano to sound like this. I need this. And he put it together, and it was perfect. So it came out to this. And honestly, it's one of my favorites. I think just the process of doing it, because it was so raw.
Yeah, I mean, even in your the way you rap, it feels high energy even to a slow beat. You know, you still bring the energy to the words that are coming out of the words coming out of my mouth. The words that are coming out of your mouth. Yeah, and yeah, that's why when I heard the album, I was like, damn, thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Worked really hard. Big shout out to fucking Jed though for making me sound pretty.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I feel like
that dude's a fucking.
I feel like he's
monster.
taken. Yeah, it's from the first time I spoke to him on the podcast. He's like leveled up multiple times over.
Definitely.
As a
the dude's always working.
Rapper, producer.
Yeah.
And it just seems like he has so much energy just to nothing's really stopping him.
He lives in there. He lives in that studio. He's there like pretty much 24 hours a day. So he's just working nonstop and he's growing. This dude's a fucking badass engineer. I could be like, oh yeah, I want to sound like this. He's like, oh, okay, got you. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like the dude's a monster. He's like doing stuff for like other people.
I'm just literally waiting for him to break, dude. You know, like break through.
Ah, that motherfucker. He's taking too long. No, I get it though. He has to, cause he is with Dreamstorm Project Inspire. He does have to do that. If I'm not wrong, I think he's gonna to help brand that and build it before he starts focusing on himself again. Because last year, he was really helping me grow. Super thankful for that. Because I don't think I'd be in the position I am now.
In what way?
I think it would have taken a lot longer for me to establish myself as an artist if it was just me and my producer. Mm-hmm. But with him, you know, having that belief in me and him, in a sense, catapulting me, he really helped open a lot of eyes towards me because he was backing me. And if that backing wasn't there, then it would have been like, oh, this is just another local rapper.
Right.
But there was that, oh, okay, you know, Jed's established here, and he's backing this rapper here, so there's probably some merit there. And obviously there's the network as well, because I have a pretty deep network, but having him as well, and then him talking me up to people, that also added another sense of like security that, you know, people were going to back me.
Right.
So I think I would have been able to do it eventually, but it wouldn't, like, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Understood.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you guys are taking the infancy of what hip hop and rap music is. I mean, not to discredit anybody who's written or recorded anything before or been through what battles before. I mean, but you guys are changing music here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I feel like you guys, that's the effect that you guys making music, hip hop music and rap music here is doing. I mean, right. It's not typical, right? It's atypical. Damn. There we go again, Matt.
Is that the right term?
Not typical. I don't know, you know.
Shit, I don't know. But I was an English major, and I feel like I should know that.
I try to use words on this podcast all the time that's just not.
But hey, man, I did drop out, so that's my excuse. Fuck you, OG.
Why? Why so? I think
they fucked me over, dude.
Well, I think everyone sort of needs a backup plan, right? You know, I mean,
mine was modeling. Fuck. I'm about to retire too.
What made you get into that? You know, is this something
that was a fucking accident?
Really?
Yeah. So my first, I actually posted about it on my Instagram.
We'll go back to the music. Yeah, let's go to the.
Yeah, give me a break on that.
Yeah.
So about 2 years ago, I had just gotten out of high school. Or no, I was probably a year out of high school already, and I had an off day at work. Or I wasn't working that day. My homie hits me up. He's like, "Hey man."
Wait, did you grow up here?
No, so I left here when I was 13.
Okay.
And then I went to the States. So I say I grew up here, but I was raised stateside.
Okay.
Or no, raised here, grew up there.
Well, a lot of the influence came from stateside.
Right. Yeah. So the homie hits me up and he's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'm just playing 2K." He's like, "All right, bet. I'm going to pick you up. We're going to do a photo shoot for this clothing company in Nashville." Okay. I needed an extra person. Dude dropped out. Everyone else I called is not down.
This happened out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, bet. So I get ready. We get to the shoot. We have the photo shoot. And after that, people in Nashville, around Nashville, had started hitting me up. And that was an accident. I was just doing it because he needed an extra person. And then after maybe like 2-3 photo shoots, I kind of got
You were bored. Over in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Okay. I was actually born in Fort Campbell.
Really? That's where I was at?
Yeah.
Fucking hate that place.
I have no idea what it looks like.
It's gross. Fucking. Hey, but go Kenwood. Go Knights. Those fuckers expelled me a month before graduation. Assholes.
Yeah. But my dad was in the army.
Yeah. So 101st.
Yeah.
But anyways, I got bored of it. because I wasn't really making money. I was just getting like product, but I wanted to make money. So I was like, there's no market for me right now. So I stopped. I didn't see a benefit there. So after that, I spent a couple months in Atlanta, and then I came back. So April 2017, I came back, and then someone had hit me up about the Mr. Guam pageant, and I thought it'd be funny if I did it. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna do it, watch this. And then I didn't realize that it was a real thing until I had signed the contract. And me, if I sign a contract, I'm stuck. I'm gonna do it because I had already signed the contract. There's paper proof that I'm, obligated.
Right.
So after that, I was like, oh fuck, I really gotta do this. So after that, I started having more photo shoots, did the pageant, got top 8 or some shit. Did more photo shoots, was making money off of it. And I was like, man, this is a good gig. I was doing pretty well for myself. I was making good, or not good money, but decent money off of modeling. Like doing photo shoots if someone wanted me.
How did you figure out how to model?
Bro, honestly, so, dude, that's funny too. So yeah, I didn't have anyone really teach me. I have the
worst fucking picture face ever.
Yeah, so mine was mad stupid. So it wasn't until I came here. It was fucking Avery. I think his last name's Cepeda. He just passed away not long ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So rest in peace, bro. Miss you. But he was the first photographer I ever had that showed me what I was doing wrong. So he'd be like, yo, your face looks stupid, do this. I'm like, all right, shoot. Yeah. So he was like my first like real mentor in modeling. So like I credit him a lot for maybe like helping me level up in a sense.
Wait, is that the person who just passed away like recently? Mm-hmm. In Korea?
No. That's a different dude. I don't know that guy.
Oh, okay.
Rest in peace to him though.
Yeah.
No, he's from here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Rest in peace to that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude really helped me like level up. And then after because him and I had done a lot of photo shoots together. He used to train at Steel Athletics.
Okay.
Him and I did a lot of photo shoots together. He would help me out, and then I did another pageant. And then I won that one, went out to the Philippines, did an international pageant representing Guam. I got the second runner-up, did photo shoots out there, made my networks out there for modeling. Then just this past, I think, June or July last year, I went back, had more photo shoots, did a fashion show.
No way.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to be going back in late May.
So you're still involved with it too?
Yeah, see, but after this year I'm done. After this year I'm retiring.
Why?
It's just boring. It's not fun for me anymore.
Oh, okay.
Like, honestly, I just did it because it was easy. It was easy. I was good at it. I made decent money. It was like pocket cash.
Right.
So it was like, why am I going to like turn down that opportunity? And then plus, like, I was getting flown overseas. So what am I going to do? Say no? Like, they're paying for my flight, paying for my hotel. I have a driver, personal assistant. What am I going to do? Say no because I don't want to fucking model? Fuck no. I'm not stupid. I'm making money.
Right.
That's what, I don't know. People got to get over their fucking pride.
Oh, but you're still young.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know where it's going to lead to.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Maybe
you're doing it for fun. I mean, it seems like you're doing it for fun, but you're still making money off of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That's why I kept doing it, but now it's not even fun. I'm just bored. And I'm not going to continue doing it if it's boring to me, because that seems like a waste of my time.
Right. Well, so, you seem pretty in tune with yourself, man. You know, as far as like mentally, and then of course physically, you know, being a model and stuff like that. Do you run into any mental bouts as far as, you know, like how you're perceived out in public or anything like that?
I have this like long-standing hatred with myself. So it's like,
as does everybody.
I feel like everyone has a little bit of like hate for themselves, but a lot of mine is like compensated with ego, because I know I'm good at what I do. So I compensate my dislike for myself for that, is just building myself at what I'm good at, so that I have something positive to look at, be like, oh man, your fucking hair looks ugly, but that album's tight though. So it's cool, you know? So, and a lot of it is just like Like, 'cause I feel like everyone has some sort of depression. Mine's been going on for, I think, about, how old am I? Like 8 years now.
Yeah.
I've had depression. Hits like a fucking tsunami.
Yeah, when you're young, I feel like it hits harder. As you get older, you know, I used to go through depressive spots. I still do, right?
Yeah.
But it's now as you get older, you start to understand the way your mind is able to handle things, you know, and how you're able to get around it, and whether it's a vice, hopefully it's not a bad vice, right?
Yeah.
But something to help pull you out of those states. For me, it's podcasting, honestly.
Yeah, I
feel fucking good every time.
I feel like this is a good platform to just talk about whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And in doing that, you kind of let out those, maybe not talking about everything that you want to talk about, but you get some of that out, like maybe little hints of it when you're going through an episode.
Yeah.
You'll let that one thing out that was kind of keeping that it was like gluing it together.
Right.
And you said that one thing on the podcast, and then you're good again. It's like, okay, I feel good.
Right. And anybody listening, don't believe that nobody goes. Nobody does not go through depressive spouts.
I'm actually coming up on the 1 year anniversary of my friend D. She passed away last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
She depression?
Yeah.
Okay.
So still tough. Love her. She's a fucking asshole. I love her though. But yeah, everyone goes through it.
Right. And, you know,
it's really just people have this this thing that they feel that they're alone. I feel like everyone that goes through depression feels that, because in that moment when you're walking around, nobody really picks up on it unless they've gone through it.
Yeah, and it's sometimes I lost a close friend, you know.
Yeah.
And this guy was the happiest
guy
exactly ever, you know.
So it's like you would never pick up on it, but someone's always going through it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a shitty thing to say. People are probably going to get mad at me, but there's a stigma here on Guam with like local families. It's like we can't really, as a kid, maybe in like Asian families too, like around Asia, you're not really allowed to be depressed.
Right.
You're not allowed to like really feel anything.
Right. You have everything here.
Yeah. What do you have to be depressed about?
Right.
That's one thing I hated hearing. What do you have to be depressed about? Like, fuck, maybe I'm just sad.
Yeah.
And there's like a stigma, like I feel for a lot of kids here because they can't talk to their parents. So it's like, I'm really big on like mental health awareness.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Like, you know, especially with that. But prior to that, I already was, because for me, it's a big deal. It may not be a big deal with everyone. I feel like a lot of the generation before me, if not the one before that, they picture people as like who have like mental health issues as weak.
Right.
Because I think I had a talk with one of my teachers in high school. It was this older white dude. I know he didn't like me, but I asked him about it. And he was like, back in my day, we didn't have time to be depressed. I'm like, that just fucked you up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You never learned how to deal with like emotions properly.
Well, if you think about, you know, back in the day too, when people were taught to just go to work, right?
Exactly.
And it would just be the mother. So there was no real love from the father down to the children, because they were the breadwinners. And then as women started to get more into the workforce, now you have both the mother and the father.
Yeah.
You know, no real time to give love.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that's the case for
definitely
everything,
not. Like mine, I think at the time I really hated the situation I was in, but as of right now, I love that I was put through that. So my dad wasn't really around. He was bouncing around like stateside because he was part of the Navy. So it was just me and my mom.
Okay.
And she went to school full time, and she was working full time. So she was working towards her bachelor's, then her master's, and she was working full time to keep us supported. So she was never really home. It was always just me. So if I had an episode, I had to just deal with it by myself. And at the time, I'm like, man, I feel so alone. But in that time, it helped me figure out like how to deal with shit without resorting to desperate measures.
Right.
So now it's like if I go through an episode, I'm like, okay, I got all this going for me. I just have to get through these next couple days and I'll be cool. let me just find something to distract myself. Like I stay busy all the time. There's never, I'll probably like if I have 2 off days a week, that one off day, like one of the off days, I'll probably just use to catch up on sleep. The next off day, I find something to do to keep me busy.
Right. Keep your mind going.
Yeah, because I have to stay stimulated. If I stay still for too long, then it hits really bad. But I feel like that's the case with a lot of people. And when I have friends that are going through stuff and I notice, I'm like, what have you done lately? They're like, I've just stayed home. I'm like, you need to find something to do, man.
Right.
Like, I love you and I care for you. I know what this shit feels like, but you need to keep yourself busy. Like, get back to the gym. I don't care how sad you are right now. Get back to the gym.
Yeah,
like, you'll feel better.
The circumstance doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're sitting in the pool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like, you could swim to the other end of the pool, but you're just sitting on that one end just sulking. And that's just what makes it so much worse. So I definitely, I don't want to say there's one set way or one set like step by step thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the early 20s though is the most critical.
Yeah,
right? Because there's so much going on. I think by this time you're seeing people graduate from college. You're kind of like wondering, having families. Yeah. You're kind of wondering like, okay, so what's up with me? And what am I gonna do? What else is there?
Yeah.
These I'm way behind the curve.
Yeah.
All kinds of shit that we fucking trick ourselves into thinking that we're not.
We're being stagnant.
Right. We're not exactly where everyone else is, so it's not where we should be.
See, I hate that.
Yeah, dude. My favorite Calvin and Hobbes quote actually is, I don't know. No, it's not a Calvin and Hobbes quote. It's a quote from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. It's Twain or fuck it.
Right.
Just confirm this, Matt, when you hear it. But it's on a Calvin and Hobbes photo.
Right.
And says, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah.
And because social media is so
I think that's what fucks with people so much.
Seeing everybody's happiness, quote unquote. The fact that, oh shit,
they're not happy. Yeah. I know they're not. I know for a fact they're not happy. They fucking hate themselves.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the shitty things. I think that's what kind of gets people a lot. They feel so demotivated, and it kind of leads to a form of depression for them.
For sure.
Because there's this, I think a really good example, because I was on YouTube a couple of days ago listening to one of my favorite artists. Her name is Billie Eilish.
Okay.
She blew up when she was 13 years old. She's 17 now. All I see in the comments is, wow, she's 13 doing this. When I was 13, I was blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Nobody moves at the same pace. She probably just had, she's fortunate enough to have a family that was musically inclined.
For sure. It could be genetics. It could be the school she went to. Yeah. It could be the area she grew up in.
Everyone's situation is different. It's just up to you on how you deal with that.
Who's the quote? Does it see? Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
But for me, I used to think that way. I actually did. I have a poetry video coming out in April with One Punch Media that I've sat on for over a year now.
I saw you release like a teaser one time.
That's the one.
Kind of like in the parking lot.
Yeah. So that's the one. When I wrote that, I was, I think, the name is IA, so I-A. It stands for insomnia and anxiety. So I think when I wrote that, I was going off of like 78 hours of no sleep. I had to stay up. Like, I was just in my room. I wasn't doing anything. Mm-hmm. So I was just like sulking in my room, being a little bitch. And then took me maybe like an hour to write that, and then I fell asleep. I was asleep for like 22 hours.
Damn.
So definitely worth it. I'm really glad I did write that. But a lot of it was like, I see all these people, like, they're starting families, they're getting good jobs, buying new cars, and then here I am sitting in my room being a little sad bitch. Mm-hmm. So everyone definitely does go through that, but it's what you do after you stop thinking about that. Like me at this point, I'm just like, okay, they're happy in their situation. I'm not happy in mine right now. Let me find a way to become happy in my situation.
Right.
So like I've definitely not been in the best situations in some points in my life, but it's really just how I adapted and been able to find, some sort of light in any situation. Like, because when I noticed at some point in my life, I don't know when it was, I was always focusing on the negative. I was always focusing on eliminating the negative. And when people focus so much on what's negative in their situation, they stop realizing that there's a positive there. So what I started doing was I flipped that mindset around. I was like, okay, there is going to be negatives no matter what. You can't completely eliminate a negative, but you can capitalize on what positive there is, and you could expand that.
Right.
So that's what I've kind of been like building on myself. Like I think like a couple months ago I was going through an episode, but I'm like, oh shit, I'm working on an EP right now. This could be the one that blows up. So let me see
like,
what happens.
Take it in, give it to me. Right?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'll take this shitty feeling now.
Yeah.
But once I bounce back from this, it's like, okay, I got to get to work.
For sure.
And everyone's gonna go through that. I kind of feel for it. But I'm always really blunt about it. I'm like, okay, so I'm hearing what you're going through. You sound like a bitch. I love you, and that's why I'm saying this. But you need to,
You find yourself talking to yourself a lot?
I do, yeah. So it's really funny because there's times like even when I'm at the bar or something, I'll zone out, and then like I'll start having conversations with myself. I don't necessarily think there's just like another voice in my head, but I'll start like thinking on other stuff. And when I'm home alone, I'll definitely have like a conversation with myself. Like I'll look at my phone, I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Like, why did I do that? You know? But it's not like full on like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like I'm talking to another voice. I definitely do have those like maybe like strange encounters with the other personality in my head.
Right.
Because that's like that's my whole like thing with like having nobody call me by my real name. It's always by my artist name because I don't like who my real name is. That's a totally different person.
Interesting.
So I'll have conversations with that dude, or like I'll put myself in that mindset, and that's what really keeps me to keep moving forward because that's who I know I really am. And it's like, okay, you gotta really get your head out of your ass because all of my work ethic and whatnot comes from that side of me. Like the artist name and everything, that's just like somewhat of a facade.
Oh, so you feel like you have to stay tapped in then? Yeah.
So like my ego is not fake. My confidence is not fake, but there's aspects of it where I feel or I notice I'm over the top, and then it's tapping back into who I really am. It's like, okay, that was a little much. Let's tone it down a bit. I'm like, okay, we got this. Like, it's not like, I know people who are schizophrenic. I won't ever claim that. I don't claim fake or not fake. I'm not saying schizophrenia is fake. I won't self-claim a mental illness.
Right.
Like what people do.
Yeah, I've never ran into somebody who has.
Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, because there's a stigma with schizophrenia and like bipolar disorders. Like, they just hear voices in their head. They're crazy. They're really not. There's cool schizophrenics. Like, they just hear shit. So it's weird, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I kind of have to tap back into like another side of me. It's like, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we got to do. And then I'll agree with myself. I'll be like, okay, if I disagree with myself in any way, I'll have to sit down and have that conversation. I'll write it down, or I'll be listening to music in my room, and then it'll come to that.
Kind of just step back outside of yourself.
Exactly.
In a way.
Yeah. And I think that was one of my coping mechanisms growing up, because I didn't, my mom wasn't really home, but whenever she was home, she, she gave me what love she could. So I really appreciate that. My mom's like my best friend. I love that motherfucker. She's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, that was one of my coping mechanisms, is that I pretended there was someone else I could talk to, and it just so happened to be another me.
Right.
Everyone comes up with like these different people. They talk to like a celebrity that they like or that they idolize. I talked to myself because I only trusted myself. Yeah. So I would have those conversations with myself and be like, okay, we can get through this. It's okay. My mom's here, so I'm good. I'm fed.
That's all you need.
Yeah. And then as I got older, it's like, okay, music's not moving the way I want to. What can we do?
Right.
Be like, okay, let's tone it down. Let's take a step back and just get back to work, and then we'll figure it out later. Be like, okay, that seems to be the only option. Let's do that. So it happens not too often. It's just when I really need to. So like I'll kind of like shut off for like a week. Like nobody will see me for like a week, and then I'll come back and it's like nobody's, like I've never left. So it's weird, but that's just how I found my way to cope about things.
Right.
And I don't know. Everyone will find their way.
Yeah.
Mine is just definitely interesting, at least in my opinion, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone that's done that, or at least in a way that I have.
Yeah, and
it's like saying that I talk to myself is weird in itself.
I think everybody does. I do. You know, I don't have full on conversations with myself, but you know, you kind of do have to step back sometimes as a person. You can say as a man, but really as a person, because everybody can do it, and really analyze what you really want. Like what do you really want? Because we can find ourselves getting into so many things, spreading ourselves so thin. And man, I've spread myself thin. I think it was last year, dude. I spread myself so thin.
Right.
I committed to so many things, and I was piling up.
You're like pretty much killing yourself at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like piling up, and that's addition to the shit that I still didn't complete that I added to my life. And I was buttered spread thin over toast.
Yeah. See, I know that exact feeling.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, it's like I like to stay busy, but there were times where my mom would call me. She's like, "Hey, you okay?" I haven't talked to her in like a week, so I'll tell her everything that's going on. She's like, "You need to slow down." And having those conversations with my mom is almost the same as having the conversations with myself. Like, you need to slow down. You're going too fast. But it feels so much better coming from an outside voice.
Right.
She's like, "Oh, you need to slow down. Do this and this first, and then you can focus on that." Be like, "Okay, I'll do that, and I'll call you back." And when I finish those two, I'll call back. She'll be like, "Was I right?" I'm like, "Don't even say it right now. Don't even say it. You don't have to." But I love her though. She's my rock. My dad's cool too. He's the more blunt end of it. He's like when I was in high school, I used to throw fits, especially in sports. So I was very competitive.
So you still had a good relationship with your dad?
Yeah. So initially, my dad and I didn't have a good relationship. We always butt heads. We always needed to be right.
Maybe that was just a direct image of him, right?
Yeah.
It's like him fighting with himself.
At the time, I fucking hated it, but it wasn't until I went out on my own. Moved away from him, I really appreciated it. And him and I now, I think now that I'm not living with him, because I think just that constant exposure to him is super overwhelming for both of us, that we just keep arguing, like we just doesn't work out. Yeah. But him and I have a great relationship now. I think it's just maybe not the distance, but I think it's when he noticed that I was an adult now, and he started treating me like an adult. My favorite quote from him is "Don't be a bitch." I love that. I tell that myself every day. Like if I was pissed off like during a wrestling match, he'd come up to me on the bench, smack me in the face, "Quit being a bitch." Like, all right, okay, you're right. So that's like, at the time I hated it, like I really did. But now that I'm older, like I'll call him when you know how parents are. Like when they teach you something, you don't realize the lesson that there is until like later on in life. I always gotta call him to be like, "Okay, yeah, you were right."
Yeah,
I'll let you know that right now.
My dad can attest to that also.
Yeah, you know? I'll be like, if my dad ever listens to this, he'll call me right away and be like, "Yeah, motherfucker, I told you." Well, I love that guy. He's blunt. He's the other side that I need. My mom's blunt as well, but she's more soft. But my dad just like straight to the point, like, "Dude, you're being a bitch."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right."
What is the age gap between your parents? Mine's 20 years.
They're the same age.
Yeah, but between you and your parents.
20 years. I was
20
born
years.
when
Yeah,
they were 20.
even me. So I have this kind of thought and idea that when parents, when people have kids at a young age, that adult relationship is completely different when, as if you were to have, I don't have kids now, but when I do have kids, my relationship with my kids is going to be different than my relationship that I have with my parents, because we're so much closer in age.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think so too.
Right?
I think the reason
sort of
that
understanding, I'm only a generation away from them.
Yeah.
I always tease my dad. I'm like, dude, I grew up with you. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Like, I hate people that are like, oh, you're not a 90s kid. Like, bitch, I was born in the 90s. Like, I am a 90s kid. Yeah. I grew up at the latter end. I grew up at the peak, and then the fall, and then the transformation. I was there for everything.
And your parents are products of what happened in the 90s, right?
80s, 90s, Y2K. They were there. I was there, but I was like young. I don't remember shit. But I was, the transition out of the 90s was a really great time, I think.
Yeah.
People just don't give, the later 90s kids any credit.
I was a full-blown child in the 90s.
Right. I was a fetus. But yeah, I grew up with the PlayStation. See, that was my first original PlayStation. My first game system.
I was 8 years old when I got the PlayStation.
I was playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Love that shit.
Blowing my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I've always been a
over
PlayStation
20
guy.
years since the fucking PlayStation came out.
My favorite game system of all time is the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I got one right there.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, that's it. Right there.
With the screen on the fucking controller. Right there. Yo, I used to play Soul Calibur on that every day. That was my shit.
Yeah, just recently, I just broke it out recently, and I was playing Marvel vs. Capcom for so long, dude.
Oh, hell yeah.
I got a blister on my thumb, like, the same night.
See, I don't know. It's just something about, like, there's so many game systems that were ahead of their time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Dreamcast was one of them.
It was. Yeah. It was. Look at what came out of the Dreamcast. The fucking Wii U.
Yeah.
The fucking PSP.
The Sega. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they weren't the same sort of brands, but I mean,
no, but makers, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like the screen right in front of your face.
Right.
If I'm not wrong, that was one of the first ones to do it. And then we're not talking about Tamagotchi. Shit's fucking lame. I thought that shit was stupid. My shit always died. I never understood that.
I never had patience. I was an outside kid, man.
I was super impatient. I did not have time for anything where I had to go back and fucking feed you unless you were a real live pet.
Right.
I'm like, damn, I'm going to forget about you, and I guarantee it because I'm going to get sidetracked.
Yeah, when I was a kid, man, I had no time for any. I played video games, yes, but also you would find me outside playing with spiders and trying to trying to hammer some nails into wood or playing with fire,
My dumb ass, I had like Lego guns running through sword grass. It's like, fuck. Now that I think about it, I was like, damn, that was hardcore.
Yeah, me and Matt.
Even now, I will not walk through sword grass.
Really?
I hate that shit. That shit pisses me off. I get so irritated. But like when I was a kid, I was like, fuck it. If I get scratched, I get scratched.
Okay.
Like I'm sprinting.
Yeah, me and Matt's brother used to have PW50s.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, and we would ride that shit around Jonia, like spend the whole summer fucking riding motorcycles.
I think the coolest thing I did was because I grew up. I'm from Agate, but I grew up in Santa Rita. I grew up in Upper Heights because that's where my family moved.
Okay.
We built a house there. We have a big property. Right next to our property is this mud hill. The red mud.
Right.
And there's this, at the time, it seemed like a giant wall of just red mud that led to the top of, where everything else was that led down to the rest of the trail.
Okay.
And what I did was I took my grandpa's pickaxe, walked over to that wall, and I made a rock climbing wall. But I had to always go back and redo it, especially when it would rain, because it would get fucked up, and I couldn't get on the steps.
Right.
So I'd have to go back, redo it, and I'd always get in trouble for taking the tools. So I used to religiously climb up, run down. I think there was one day I fell off, and I kind of just like sat. I know I was home alone, so I kind of just like sat where I had fell, because it's like soft red dirt. So there's like an imprint in the dirt, and I was
of yourself.
I was kind of just sitting in that, like contemplating if I really want to go back up again. But I got pissed off, so I did. I didn't fall off the second time, but I don't think I went up again after that. I was too scared to fall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I did play a lot of video games. I was a weird kid. I loved being outside.
You watch wrestling?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite wrestler of all time was Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy?
Jeff
Wow,
Hardy.
Interesting, man.
Yeah.
I grew up with me as a Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, that dude's badass.
Yeah. The baddest.
Yeah.
The baddest, not just badass. But my favorite wrestler was Shawn Michaels. I was a real big heartbreak kid.
HBK.
Sweet Chin Music.
See that shit really looked like it hurt.
Which one?
The fucking Sweet Chin Music.
Oh,
that shit looked like it hurt. Even if it didn't land, you just heard a clap. I don't know if it actually landed.
Getting kicked in the jugular.
Like, God. You ever see how like these they get hit? I'm like, God damn. And then you got like, the reason I like Jeff Hardy is because I could not take my eyes off of him.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude was gonna do something weird no matter
acrobatic
what.
in the sky. Acrobatic off the ropes.
This dude was just jumping off of shit, and I'm like, whoa, that shit is tight. But then as I got older, and I still watched the wrestling. I think I stopped watching around like 2013, 2014.
Okay.
My favorite wrestler became CM Punk.
Okay.
So he's my favorite wrestler for about 3 years.
I
was pissed off when he jumped into MMA, dude. I was so mad. I knew he was going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, and he's still getting his ass kicked.
He's so stupid. Just commentate. You're smart enough for that. You can't throw a punch. I'd beat the fuck out of him. That's so frustrating to me. Seeing my favorite wrestler get like his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And choked out. I'm like, man, this
especially
is so
when you have no prior experience, you know.
Exactly.
Like Brock Lesnar, he was
That's different. He's a college All-American D1 wrestler.
Right, champion.
He's a stupid fucking asshole though. I'd fight him.
You do have a lot of confidence, man. You know, I gotta say.
Yeah. It's sometimes too much. But then a lot of people mistake it for cockiness. I know my limits.
Right.
I talk a lot for sure, but I know what I can and what I actually can't do.
Right.
Like me saying I'll fight Brock Lesnar, that's just like me being frustrated with him. He's probably not a bad guy, you know? I really do like CM Punk though. He caught my attention because he was the only one on the WWE roster that was like talking shit. Like real life shit. Like the dude was saying some real shit about like the company, and I was like, dude, this dude has balls. Like he's really saying everything that's on his mind. And he'd have his mic cut out and he'd pull up with a bullhorn.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I even watched like wrestling religiously.
See, I don't.
Yeah.
My most vivid memory probably was watching a TLC match with Edge, Christian, the Dudley Boys, and
the Brood. You're talking about the Brood?
Is that their name?
Yeah, the Brood, Edge and
yeah, that crazy ass fucking TLC match. That was probably like my first, because I didn't watch it as it happened. I was too young. I watched a rebroadcast.
Okay.
But that's what got me into wrestling. I was like, dude, this shit is crazy. Is this what it's like all the time?
Yeah.
But I couldn't get into other wrestlers because Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy were the only ones doing shit like that. So that's why I was so into them.
Right.
So it was like, that was like my most vivid memory. And then like growing up, I was like, yo, this shit is getting so boring. And then here comes like CM Punk, like, I'm the best wrestler in the world. I'm like, yeah, you are. Yeah.
But The Rock did that too.
I see. But I didn't grow up watching The Rock.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
a different generation.
Dude, Sunday, Monday, Thursday were the days for wrestling. Sunday Night Heat, right back from the beach, 6 o'clock. Monday Night Raw, 9 p.m.
See, I was a SmackDown guy.
SmackDown, Thursday Night
SmackDown,
SmackDown was like 7 or 8 o'clock. And
God, it was funny because ECW, there was only certain matches I could watch. I could not continuously watch it.
yeah.
Not because of the gore, and I get why people loved that shit. Like, it was great. The shit was fucking violent.
Yeah.
But it's just the cringe, like, of knowing, like, they're actually, like, fucking themselves up.
Right.
Like, they're, like, fuck, they had, like, barbed wire and shit.
Yeah, my friend.
That shit, like, I'm always sitting there, I'm like, ugh,
My friend actually went to a amateur wrestling
Oh no, those things are ugly.
Yeah, and
they're so gross.
He's like, it was one of the best things I've ever been through. So it's on my bucket list to go to.
See, no, honestly, like it's what makes it so amazing, because I've been to a couple.
Okay.
Is the energy, because it's always a regional thing. The wrestlers that you're seeing, they're familiar with the people in that region.
I see.
So the energy in the crowd is fucking nuts, because they already have their favorite wrestler. Mind you, I don't know who these motherfuckers are. I'm just going for whoever does the coolest move.
Yeah.
But I'm fucking going crazy, and I went to this unaired like WWE match in Nashville, and I was fucking bored. They were having like a tables match, but nobody would pull out a fucking table till the end. I lost my voice yelling, "Pull out a fucking table!" And then one of them told me, like a wrestler told me to shut the fuck up, because he wasn't pulling out a fucking table. Like, bro, it's a fucking tables match. Pull out your fucking table, pussy. Like, but in this fucking amateur match, like, these dudes got chairs and they're like in the fucking crowd. Like, the dude like maybe 20 feet away from me had his seat taken out from under him so that the wrestler could use it. Like, that's energy you're not going to find anywhere else. And the energy is just amazing. Everyone's having a good time. They're probably all drunk already.
Yeah.
And I wasn't drinking at the time, but dude, it was crazy. I love amateur shows. I won't go to another one though.
Yep, it's on my bucket list. So next time I go out to the States,
the really interesting ones are the ones that happen at carnivals.
Like fairs and stuff.
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, like county fairs. They'll have like amateur wrestling matches. I think I saw one where the center of the ring was a trampoline.
What?
I was like, this is so stupid, but it's so tight.
So dangerous, yet so awesome.
Like, I think the coolest thing I saw is a dude jumped from one turnbuckle, hit the trampoline, landed on the other turnbuckle, and did like a fucking 5-star frog splash on the dude. And I was like, this shit is fucking amazing. And you won't see that in the WWE because they're all pussies now.
Fucking turnbuckle.
Yeah, fuck you, Vince McMahon.
To the trampoline.
Bro, this shit's crazy, man. But that's like they're not making a lot of money off of this, and they got really nothing to lose. Like, they're an amateur wrestler. What else do they have to lose? Like, if they break a leg, it's like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, hopefully you have insurance at your real job, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But in the WWE, I feel like it's just, I got bored.
Yeah.
I think wrestling in general is boring. I'll play the WWE games though.
Yeah,
so I can make my own character.
I think I outgrew it. Maybe it was, high school. Around high school, I stopped watching wrestling, religiously, and I think that's just a natural order of things. But
but then there's always the people that stick around for it.
Yeah.
I never I didn't think I was gonna grow out of it, but it wasn't so much that I got bored. It's just my two favorite wrestlers, they had retired, and I was only watching it for them. So after that, I just got bored. I was just like, okay, they're not there, so I don't have a reason to watch it, because at the latter end of their careers, they were on every week, like doing promos,
Right.
And those were the best. The fucking them talking.
The backstage interviews.
Yeah.
Hey, look here. I'm going to come out there. I'm going to kick your ass.
And I'm like, yeah.
In the upcoming tables and chairs match.
Yeah. And I'm not even going to pull out a table. 'Cause I'm a bitch. God damn it, bro. You know how angry I was? You know how much money I actually didn't spend money on the ticket. It was a gift from my dad, for my stepbrother, because he loves wrestling.
Yeah.
Again, oh my God, I was it was a good time, a good experience to have, being at like a pro wrestling match.
Yeah.
I was just fucking heated. I got so excited. I saw on the flyer tables match.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck yeah, dude. Because I grew up Jeff Hardy era. There's tables fucking breaking everywhere.
Yeah. How many times did they break the announcer's table?
Exactly. There was no announcer's table.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, okay. So there's regular
Jim Ross
tables.
is like, surprise. Oh God. Oh God.
Man, but that fucking announcer's table was flimsy as fuck.
Yeah, it was.
But I was just like, man, this is a tables match. I've seen one table and it's not even like propped up. It's on the fucking floor.
Yeah.
Like, you know how frustrating that is? Like, you ever watch a wrestling match, right?
Yeah.
And you're expecting to see something cool. Like, you got these motherfuckers out here with chairs, but they're not using them.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of bullshit is this? I spent money on this? This is stupid.
One of my favorite ones were the ladder matches.
Oh yeah.
You have to get the suitcase or the belt off the little ring there, and it's like the anticipation. You know they should have grabbed it already. You know, it's at this point. You should have fucking grabbed it. But you
oh my
gave
god,
him a
that's the
chance
most frustrating
to run
thing.
and
Like
push the ladder, and now you're outside of the fucking ring.
there's something I want you to look up right now. It's Jeff Hardy. It's on the WWE page on YouTube. Jeff Hardy and one of the Dudley Boys are rewatching their TLC match, and they're doing like live commentary to it
on their cell,
and it's so fucking dumb. Like they're like, and I was climbing up the ladder, and I could just see you there, and I'm screaming. I'm like, bro, like I know you guys are scripting this shit, and I hated it. I hate the fact that I know now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's the one at the top. You got to see this, man. This shit pisses me off.
Let's see here.
Like,
oh
bro,
my god,
this was the match that got me, man.
You know, the music scene to be.
I didn't expect it to be shit. I wasn't expecting anything,
because you weren't hearing anything coming out of here.
So I always paid attention, because my family was always really deep in the art scene. My mom was directly involved with Shiro's Head, the first Gax. My uncle was a pioneer in Guam's rock scene, the band scene. He's a pioneer. He started the Weekend Warriors, all the Skinner's Plaza shows before they broke it down and built the museum. He was a big part of that. So I was always around music and arts in general,
right?
You know, growing up. So I always paid attention when I left, because when I left, it was in a decent place. There were bands out, like there's a Sex Karate. I think Mo Chang was still prominent. And Matala was just first starting out. They were my favorite band growing up. And to this day, it's crazy for me, like growing up watching like Ryan Shook play, going on his tour, and then me having all of their albums. It was crazy for me, like being an adult now and then being able to have like one-on-one conversations with him and him actually like enjoying my music. That's it always fucks me up, because I grew up like watching him, but
you didn't think you'd have a personal relationship with him?
I never did. No.
Yeah.
So it's really cool now, but when I left, I always kept an eye on it. And then at some point, I noticed things started to go stagnant. Nobody was really putting out anything. I know there was a couple rappers doing stuff, like there was Meta. Yoshi was doing stuff, but I think he took some time off, and it was really just Meta. And then Meta left off island too after his teaching at Tiedzin. Left off island for Colorado, was doing his thing there. So after he left, there was no real scene, and I noticed that. So I lost a lot of confidence in the scene. So when I came back, I didn't have any expectation. And I did have an expectation. When Jed was still Snoozix, I heard one of his ciphers and one of his remixes on YouTube. So that was like really the only thing that I had to go off of. Yeah. So when I came back, he had a name change. Saw him at Icon for a native party that he was performing at. I don't remember how long it took for him and I to finally talk. I think it was a pop-up at Coliseum before it turned into Crook. I told him straight up, I thought he sucked. So we were in the car, and, I don't want to be.
I hope you knew him before you said that.
No, I didn't. That was my first real conversation with him. But I was like, dude, I want to be real. I didn't like your music before. I thought you were ass. And
who? Jed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I just, no disrespect, but I didn't like your music before, but I like your music now. And he was like, no, I don't either. And that's not the reaction I was expecting. Most people would get offended.
Yeah.
but he was, it felt like he appreciated that I was real enough to say that, because I don't think anyone else is gonna say that to him.
Yeah.
Like just off of meeting him the first time.
Yeah, my first dabble with not even dabble. I didn't even dabble, but just listening to local rap to me made me think, holy shit, there's.
God, it was fucking lame for me.
Really?
I was so underwhelmed.
Me, I was thoroughly impressed with Big Will and Shorty, Sporty's album. I don't know if you ever heard it.
Okay,
see,
no,
see if
we
you can find it on
we
YouTube
pulled it
or
up last
something.
time, I remember, but
Oh yeah, we pulled up their cipher.
Yeah, mind you,
Right.
I started paying attention to local rap after they stopped doing stuff.
I think they're still doing
it
stuff.
was
Or
well, I guess when
their producer still like sends me
when like the
links.
Duke Westlake ciphers and those gained prominence on Island, that's what I was paying attention to, because I was a real big fan of Team Backpack.
Okay. See if you can pull up Swim Back on SoundCloud.
Yeah, so they were I think my two favorites growing up were Meta and then Yoshi, but at the time I think he was unorthodox. So those are my two favorite rappers.
Or Big Will, something like that.
Ooh. Oh, there we go.
Anything there?
No, but for a long time I was really underwhelmed with
Try Big Will.
with local rap. And this wasn't even me as a rapper. I wasn't rapping yet. It was just knowing music, understanding music. I knew that there could be a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But I felt like everyone was so stuck listening to other people, and there's around so many yes men that they weren't allowed to grow.
In what respect?
Like, for me, it was like wordplay, flow. They all sounded the same to me.
Mm-hmm.
They all had the same flow. They all talked about the same shit. Me and my Pars and my fucking Toyota Hilux. Like, bro, I'm not impressed anymore. You're boring me. But this isn't me. Like, this is like, I'm just wasn't impressed. And then it wasn't until maybe around the time I came back, if not a little after I started releasing music, that I started hearing stuff that was, worth listening to. Like, I think the first row, other than like J Alpha and Yoshi, because I had been listening to them for a long time. Other than them, the first rapper that really caught my attention was Bryce Cole.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
See, that's I want him to have that attention. Bryce Cole, he's fucking talented.
For sure. Hey, it's Swimback Productions. So yeah, dude, this was my first. I came back to Guam. I left in 2005 after high school. Came back in 2010, and they had just dropped an album, and it
really
fucking blew my mind.
See,
dude.
I was
like, what is this? He
I was
sounds
still
like
in elementary at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I don't. I'm not familiar with them, but
Right.
that's a generational thing. Like, I wasn't around them.
More on SoundCloud, bro. Yeah, nothing. It's called Keep It. There's a song called Keep It there. Keep It, Swimback Productions. Try that. Swimback is one word. They were these. This is Big Will.
What up, skate man? Big Will in here. Swim bag, nigga. Tell the shawty.
You heard of Big Will and Sporty, right, Matt?
Yeah.
See, I didn't even hear this. I never knew about this.
Does it show when they released this? I think this is
1 year ago.
last year.
Oh wow.
So I know they're constantly putting stuff out. They actually just finished something recently.
Right.
But I don't know if Big Will's here. I know Sporty's here.
Right.
But I don't know if Big Will's still living here on Island.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like there's so much potential on Island for anything.
yeah.
For just like arts in general. There's like painters, fucking singers and whatnot. But I feel like they waste a lot of their potential because they're so scared to go out of their box. And Guam's not big. You could easily make a name for yourself. It's
for
not.
sure.
It's not hard, but they're just so scared of denial.
I think that's all across music though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But my thing is here.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah.
Like
dude,
Guam being so small, we have the means to do whatever we need to do because network is so tight.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows everyone. So they have the means to do that. They have the means to like fucking rap for somebody and somebody will want to record them.
Mm-hmm.
But they think that they suck. And or like if there's a singer and you know she's a talented songwriter, she'll feel, or he or she will feel, you know, not good enough to do this shit.
Yeah, man.
And I feel like it's like what my dad used to tell me: quit being a bitch, just fucking do it, put your shit out.
And then that's why like I really look up to people like you know, Ryan Bustamante, who started Acoustic Attack, and
Right.
you know, like with just bringing people out of their shells or out of the woodworks, and he would bring people on like
They're doing a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
They gotta like I think they've been so busy like the last 2 months. Like they have so much content
just
ready to
preparing
drop.
content to drop. Yeah.
I'm excited. I don't even really listen to the band scene.
Yeah, because he was they were you know, full force, you know, the first couple years, and then they kind of like
I don't think
for a little bit.
I think they were just planning. Because mind you, their first couple years they were going hard, so I think they kind of needed to take a step back and maybe not reassess, but just get things in order. So that they could hit us again with shit.
Yeah, because it was good production. You know, it was really good
great.
production with and the areas they were doing it in, and the people they were bringing on, and the people that they had backing. I believe RJ Pereira was, you know, there playing guitar a lot for people who would go and sing. Those 2 young girls who were who singing that one song that you remember. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But,
see, I don't even like. I don't really pay attention to that side of the scene as much. I feel like I should because that's where my roots are. But it's not so much like disinterest. It's just I have my own shit going on.
For sure.
But I really do appreciate like everything that they're doing because that's a totally different side of the scene. Like the band scene kind of died for a long time, and then now we have bands like Local Deluxe, Fat Tofu, A Long Drive Home. Like I just went to see them, Long Drive Home last night at where the fuck was I?
I don't think I've seen them yet.
Super great.
Yeah, I saw the music video that
that
Ryan put together with, of course, with a group, right? I believe Brian Munoz was a part of that.
But there's so many good bands now that I feel like if they came out maybe like 2-3 years ago, it wouldn't be the same. Yeah. But I'm glad they're out now.
Yeah, I think the timing is perfect.
Ocas Point is my favorite local band.
Oh, dude,
fucking love Ocas Point.
I watched them for the first time at Moistland.
Oh my god!
It was like 3:00 in the morning when they played, and it was fucking hard and heavy.
People were going crazy,
dude. But I was with my cousin, and we looked at the clock. We're like, dude, we gotta go, bro. It's 4:00, and we're in the middle of G-Code.
Yeah. The other thing I love about Ocas Point is the reason that they're one of my favorite bands, or my favorite local band right now, is because no matter what gig, no matter where they're playing, their crew comes out. They have their little entourage, and the energy that they bring on stage and the energy that their entourage brings is unmatched by any other band right now.
Yeah, dude. I think the dude played in soccer shorts. That's all he was wearing.
Yeah, so I had seen them play a couple times, and I loved them, and they were at All Black.
Right, and that was the same. That was the same night as Moistland.
Yeah, so right after their set, they went straight to Moistland.
Right.
But it was legit just him and his crew, like front and center, like going fucking crazy. And everyone is looking at them like, what the fuck are these guys doing? But they're just having a great fucking time. Like, they're just having fun doing whatever the fuck they want to do.
Right.
And I respect that so much.
Right. And, you know, on Guam, a lot of people are worried about, you know, who's looking and, you know, who's without having fun. And that's why when you go to a bar or a club or that someone's playing at, most people are wallflowers, you know, just kind of just like standing on the wall.
Oh my God, I fucking hate that.
You know, too cool for school, don't want to dance, don't want to vibe, you know?
So I think, I say this a lot because I'm around, you know, I'm at bars all the time. I'm around the club scene a lot. I'm very open that Aaron or Tomfoolery. He's my favorite local DJ.
Okay.
I think he's the best DJ on island, and a lot of people won't like hearing that, but I firmly believe he is. And I think what got me one night is because he usually gigs at Cowboy Ninja on Fridays. So there was a Friday maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. I was joking with him, like, because he every DJ knows that if you control the girls, you control the crowd. And the one thing he always did different than all the other DJs was that he played, music that catered to the girls. It wasn't like, club music.
Right.
He was playing like fucking Miley Cyrus. He was playing SZA.
I was thinking
the dude was playing the dude was playing like the Cha-Cha Slide at some point. He plays the electric slide like every night. Like, this shit's crazy. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
But he's just so versatile Matt, the way that he plays.
Set me up here. Yeah.
He's just so versatile with his set list. Like, he can go from like 90s rap into
Thanks, bro.
like modern R&B. And I think, I don't know, it's definitely an opinion. People won't agree with me, but yeah, I think I think knowing that, or having that opinion, had also helped me build a relationship with him. So he's actually the other one I wanted to have with us today, but he has another. There's another podcast coming up with someone else. I think it's called Raw Kids Radio.
Okay.
And he wanted to save everything he had to say for that one. Because as far as I know, he's the only other reckless motherfucker that he'll say anything that comes to mind. And it's to the point where there's a lot of people at a point in time that didn't like us because we were saying everything, but it's not. It's all opinionated shit.
Right.
It's all subjective. It's not directed at anyone, but people were getting offended. But like I said, it's subjective. If they wanted to get offended, then they wanted to get offended.
Right.
So I think with him being like that, and then me being the same way, I kind of built that relationship with him. And then along with that, hearing him play, he became my favorite DJ because he knew how to, in a sense, control people. Like, he used to bend the crowd at his will. We actually have a show tomorrow at Cowboy Ninja called Heartwork.
Okay.
It's like an all R&B show. There's like an iconic picture of hot Cheetos that came out of it. Like, it's someone somehow brought in a bag of hot Cheetos, and it's just a bag of someone holding hot Cheetos
in the bar.
Yeah. Like, they're just holding it up in the air. All you see is a hand and hot Cheetos.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking iconic.
I think I saw the ad for that.
Yeah.
Or the flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, super funny.
Whoever's putting those together, those are really really impressive flyers, man, for all of them. All the events that you guys have at Cowboy Ninja. Yeah.
Yeah. So with ours, or not ours, I'll say Aaron's. For the most part, he'll do his own flyers because he likes to fuck around. All of his flyers are stupid. Like, I think the second Heartwork, he had a picture of Power Rangers.
Yeah, I remember that. On the bed, right?
Yeah. No relation to the actual thing. It was just, he thought it was funny. That's what I like about him. He's like, he doesn't give a fuck. He just does it. Yeah. So, and then there was the picture of hot Cheetos. And I was like, I fucking love this. And then I think Ryan... I don't remember his actual last name. He's he does the regulars.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I know of him. Yeah.
So I think he did the other flyer, the one with the condom thing.
Yeah, he's very talented.
Like, that's
too, man.
Dope. I
really like his style.
I love him. So
even
much.
Down to the way he dresses.
Yeah, dude's super raw.
Yeah.
Like, the dude, like.
Yeah, they came out with that kind of looked like a spray painted tailgate T-shirt.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites
that shit
right
was
there,
tight.
bro. Yeah. Told him,
like, mad respect from him.
Yeah.
Dude, like, no matter who is coming out with clothes, they're like in touch with everyone. so that they'll retweet, they'll share every other brand, just to make sure that they get the
right. Yeah.
that
new drops.
stage,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I noticed that too.
I respect that so much.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a lot of people doing that, especially other brands. They won't do it for each other, but he's doing it for them.
Picking each other up and.
Yeah, and I think that's what the scene needs is those brands doing that for each other.
Yeah, and I kind of want that for podcasting too.
It could definitely happen. Like I think
I'm waiting for the community to build bigger and bigger, and people starting to do more and more podcasts.
Exactly.
And you mentioned the podcast coming up, and I was like, damn, great, another one. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps. It helps with the community.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because right now there's no community. For a while it was just literally like me in the townhouse, in the town center.
Yeah.
Like ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Anybody.
It'd be like that sometimes. Because at that point, I think like in the beginning, I've never done I've never like known what it was like to run a podcast, but feel like in the beginning it's really just you're letting anyone come in just to build that the
portfolio.
like, yeah so you have those episodes under your belt, and then over time you're able to convince people because you have that portfolio. You can convince certain people to come on, and then from there the crowd grows. And then from there, it continues to grow. And then I feel like at some point, it won't go down. It goes stagnant, and then it grows again.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's how it is with everything.
Yeah. At least with the people, like people starting podcasts, I feel like it's now we're at the bottom of the growth, right?
Right.
Real stagnant. I didn't know anybody who really listened to podcasts. Now I run into. It's not even surprising anymore when someone goes, yeah, I listened to a bunch of podcasts, and these are the podcasts.
And that's weird because in high school I used to listen to podcasts, but everyone looked at me fucking weird. Because like in high school I used to, I was really interested about like Greek mythology, and then like for some reason I had this strange interest with lesser known serial killers. Like not the Jeffrey Dahmers and whatnot, like the lesser known
Zodiac
ones.
killers.
Yeah, that fucking pussy. So that's what I listened to in high school. I didn't really watch TV. I didn't have time to. I always had a sport, so I always had a sport to play. If I wasn't at practice, I was at home sleeping or playing video games or something, or listening to the podcast while I slept.
Right.
Everyone looked at me weird, and now we're in a day and age where like, oh yeah, I listen to this podcast, and it's like I'm hearing about podcasts I've never known about, so it's like super cool.
Yeah, and honestly, there's like so many podcasts. It's like there's always a new podcast that someone's listening to a podcast. Yes, you got the Joe Rogan, you got the
I love the Joe Rogan experience. I love that.
You also have like all the obscure ones, like people.
Oh yeah, like the gems. There's always the gems.
I'm into the crime and the unsolved mystery kind of deal.
Yeah, I love those.
And like the serial podcast, those were really good.
Yeah.
But then you go all the way down, and
it becomes
like stuff you miss in history class. Yeah, that's a really good podcast.
But I feel like because there's so many podcasts that are like each other, it just becomes saturated and boring,
right.
In a sense.
Right.
Like. I think other than you and my Auntie Josie's podcast, or with not including Raw Kids Radio coming up, those are the only 3 that I know about.
Yeah. There's a bunch, man. I think there's a good number of them actually.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say there's over 10. I want to say that. Safe to say.
It's a good number.
Yeah.
Like the only reason I know about my Auntie Josie's own is because well, her brother is married to my mom.
Okay.
So she's stupid on Twitter. She's super funny.
Yeah, I like what
in person, she's super cool. Same person.
Yeah, I had her on the podcast with Blake Watson.
Really?
Yeah, right before she dropped her first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a cool. Allowed her to plug it in and stuff like that, and.
But that's things that the community needs, not just in podcasting, but with clothes, music. Right. We need that kind of energy. Like, hey, okay, you have a thing coming up. it'll be somewhat of a competitor, but you know,
I don't think so. Especially for podcasting and young, and that's the thing. I had this conversation last night, and we don't realize, people think that Guam is so small, you know, in a sense that not everybody can't go be doing the same thing. You know, we get offended when someone starts doing something that we're doing, or this and that.
That's
right?
partly true, but it just takes growing up.
Yeah,
people got to quit being bitches.
Yeah, and that's very true too. But it's like there's so much money to be made if you want to make money. There's so much other listeners. Like, the listeners aren't gonna all come from here. Yeah, you know, you're trying to capture on a world scale now. Exactly. You know, when you enter the digital realm, this is the world scale. Yeah, we can cater to listeners here on Guam, but now we're entering.
I don't ever cater to Guam.
Yeah, I try not that. When I first started this, I didn't want to put anything that had any relation to Guam.
See, I won't go like that far, but my marketing strategy is not catered for Guam. Like I've straight up said, fuck the Guam market. If Guam doesn't like me, they don't need to like me, you know? Right. Because long term, only aiming for Guam is only going to get me so far. It's going to stagnate me, and then it'll come to a point where I feel like I have to leave. But I want this to be home base.
I've also been told, you know, you gotta attract your home base before you go outside.
And I've done that, I've done that, but it's been organic. It's not. I've purposely targeted them. They have just liked what I've made.
For sure.
And that's. It wasn't a purposeful thing. They were just like, okay, we like what you're doing. We like the art that you're making, and we're going to support you. And it wasn't like going out of my way like, oh yeah, you need to support me. Like, they just random people. They're just like, oh yeah, you know, I will, because I like your stuff. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like that's where a lot of people get stuck, is because they get too focused on aiming for a Guam audience, which, to be honest, I don't think is too difficult, especially when you're starting off, because there's always the homies. Yeah, the homies always support you. Like, if I'm being real, my tight circle of friends, they don't listen to my music. They don't. I know that for a fact. I don't know
if any of my friends listen to my podcast because they hear me talk all the fucking time.
See, that's my best friend, like Ethan and Brandon. They don't listen to my music because they.
I think I only have one friend that listens to my podcast.
They gotta hear me like rap all the time. Yeah. Like, they're like, it'd be so much better if I didn't know that was your voice. And I'm like, I get it. Just retweet it. You don't gotta listen to it. Right. Like, I don't mind that at all, because I know that they still support me. I'm not gonna get hurt over them not listening to my music.
You guys aren't there for me all throughout the whole entire journey.
Yeah. See that, but I know that, you know, I know they support me. Yeah. I hate people. I feel like that's another like thing here, is that they don't know that, or they don't know the difference of being able to support you but not liking your art. Like, I don't have to like a person to respect their hustle. Right. Like, I had that conversation with these group of youngins. You know, I told them straight up, I don't like their music, but I respect what they're doing. Yeah. You know, I'll support their music, because in time, you know, they're still young, they'll grow. I don't have to like their music to like who they are as a person. But I'll still support them, because if someone on Guam blows up, that's a win for the community. Right. So I'm not going to, you know, I'm out here saying I'm the best rapper on island. That's cool. I think there's who was it? They jumped on this straight up cypher. He fucking murdered everybody. I think there was like shots at me because he was one of the lines is like, oh, you're the best rapper, or how can you blah blah blah. But I can't be mad because that shit was tight. Like, it was so good. Like, I won't be like a bitch enough to say that wasn't super tight. And I told him straight up, I was like, dude, that was fucking good. Yeah. Like, and you know, he's like,
whether or not it was pointed towards me.
Yeah, it probably wasn't pointed at me. It probably wasn't. If it was, then it was. I'm not mad about it. Yeah. I don't get mad at subjective stuff like that, because that's an opinion.
For sure. And
I mean, the dude's a dope rapper. So I'm not mad about that at all. Like I said, that shit.
Yeah, that cypher was really cool. You know, I think it allowed people to step out of their shells, right?
See, but that's you know, we talked about it in the last podcast. That's what we needed people to do. Yeah. Because we know that there's a lot of these closet rappers. There's a lot of these rappers that want to say they're rappers, but they won't put anything out. So this was just another attempt to get everyone out of their closet. And it worked. You know, there's a lot of them that came out, and I wasn't even aware of a lot of these kids. But just the fact that, you know, they put themselves out there, I got a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, I saw there was upwards of like 30 submissions.
Yeah, and, you know, I got a lot of respect for that just because they were doing, I'm sure there is more people that wanted to do it. But, you know, they really put themselves out there. They put themselves on blast to be able to do that. So I respect that a lot because I know growing up I would have never done that. Now I would because I have I don't have anything to prove, but in my head I'm like, okay, if there's a cypher and there's all these dope rappers on there, I gotta try and like embarrass them.
Yeah, where do you see yourself though? You know,
what do you mean?
At least where do you see yourself with music in 5 years?
In 5 years? No clue. I don't think that far. I think 2 years.
2 years then.
Probably. Hoping I don't have like a vision, if that makes sense. At that point, I would like to have quit my day job and be making music full time and be making enough money off of that to sustain myself.
Right.
'Cause I don't ever look at long-term goals. I look at short-term goals to a long-term, like, so like, I'll have a bunch of short-term goals that'll eventually lead up to a long-term goal I made like 2 years ago. So it's never anything definite because the long-term goal always changes as I progress. So shit, maybe in 5 years I want to be touring. I don't know though. It might change. I might not want to tour at all.
Might want to retire.
Never know. But that's just how it is. Time goes by, but I don't want to have a long-term goal because it creates unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have people that are always like, oh, I want to be one of the biggest rappers in the industry, but they're not thinking about the steps they need to take to do that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have to constantly be putting out content in order to find yourself at some sort of competitive advantage to...
I don't think so. I feel like in that sense, you're kind of just trying to overwhelm people. I think the strategy in that with constantly coming out with music and not really taking time on it, and that's not a knock to their
hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. It's not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Russ did the same thing. I think the strategy with that is just if you keep showing up on the feed with new music, eventually someone's going to click on it. Eventually, you know, they're going to get tired of seeing it, and then they're going to check it out.
Right.
Maybe not get tired of seeing your name on the feed, but they're going to get curious. With me, that's, you know, it's definitely worked in the past for some people. But for me, I want to build anticipation. I want people to get excited about a drop. I don't want people to just already know like every other month or every month they're going to get something new. And I take that a lot from how music is back in the day. Because there's music fans now that aren't even willing to wait 6 months for another album. But back in the day, you had to wait like 2-3 years just for a new album.
Dre came out Dr. Dre came out with an album 10 years after his first album.
See, and the anticipation was crazy when he announced it.
Right.
It's curiosity, it's anticipation. It gets people excited.
Like, what the fuck have you been doing this whole time?
Exactly.
Oh.
Like Lil Uzi Vert, he wanted to quit music because people weren't willing to wait a year. Like, it's been 1.5 years since he announced it, but he's having label issues. So eventually he was just like, oh, fuck this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to quit music. Because people weren't willing to understand that, you know, he's part of a label. They control him. And then, you know, the reason I don't release singles a lot, like before the EP, I didn't release it. I released Suck Fit in September, and I was sitting on everything else. And for me, it allows myself time to promote the music, make teasers, get people interested in it. gain curiosity, because when it drops, even if it's not that good, their curiosity is so high that they're gonna enjoy it either way.
Right.
They're gonna enjoy it different than if, you know, you kind of just be like, hey, I'm dropping another track tomorrow, and then they're like, okay, I know tomorrow I'm getting one. But like, oh, I'm dropping this 2 months from now. They have 2 months to simmer on that. But like I said, it's to each their own. I know a lot of local rappers are doing that. It might work for them, it might not. I don't really pay attention. I'm more worried about my numbers than anyone else's. But I'll still retweet. I won't listen to the music though. Like, I'll retweet their stuff just out of support.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I gotta like the music though. I think a lot of them are fucking garbage.
Oni spreading the love here.
No,
Everyone gets the same love from Oni, yeah?
yeah. I don't think anyone's like safe in a sense.
Yeah.
Everyone gets the same.
Yeah, you go hard on Twitter, man. You go hard. You pique my interest whenever I see you tweet something. I'm like,
really?
What's this guy saying?
Even if it's stupid shit.
Yeah.
Tight.
What is he retweet commenting on today?
It's funny, man, because
I enjoy it, man. Yeah, it's cool.
Jed has to tell me to calm down sometimes. And it's not until, like, a lot of times, it's not until he says something like, hey, delete that tweet. I'll go back. I'm like, man, I really don't want to fucking delete that tweet.
Yeah.
But he's right. I should.
Yeah, you gotta uphold some sort of standard, right?
Yeah, because of our position.
For sure.
We have to hold that maybe not mantle, fucking we have to upkeep a reputation.
For sure. Yeah,
we have to keep that face,
you guys are the newer generation of what hip hop and rap is on Guam, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you can, you know, if calling you guys the face of it, but you know, it's like maybe there's a responsibility that he sees you guys need to uphold.
Yeah,
as far as being music producers or artists. Yeah,
part of me does want to say that. The other part doesn't want to, because that puts a lot of expectation on us. But I think we have proven that we have the pull to do all of that. Like he calls me basically like one of the spearheads of straight up music. Just because I'm so loud about everything, you know, I've never held back on anybody. It never mattered what situation I was in.
Yeah.
You know. So there is a lot there. I wouldn't say live up to, but we have to stay consistent. You know, we have to stay good in the eyes of at least the investors. They need something to like backers, investors, they need something positive to look at. If we just keep getting hate, or in a sense, if I just keep getting hate, they won't want to back me.
Right. Because it's a reflection.
It's a reflection.
Your reputation's a reflection on them because they're supporting.
Yeah. So whenever he tells me to calm down, I'm like, okay, he's right, because him and I have had long conversations about this stuff, and he understands why I do things the way I do.
Yeah.
Because part of it is marketing, most of it is my personality. But you know, he'll always be like, oh, you could still do that, but you gotta, you know, calm down on it sometimes. And I'll be like, okay, you're right. So when he tells me to delete something, I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? You're right.
Just dial it back.
Yeah. So in a sense, there is that responsibility, because personally, when I came back, I wasn't happy with where the art scene was. I was supposed to only be here for 6 months. But then I think like 4 months in, I called my mom. I was like, I got to stay. She's like, why? And I'm like, I got to do something about this art scene, because you're not here. You know, it's stagnant. It's dead. She's like, I had a feeling that was going to happen, because she knows I network really fast. So I stayed, and then, you know, I did what I could. It was a really, really slow process of getting personally involved. And then, like I said earlier, like linking up with Jed was like a catapult in a sense. And then him and I had the same goal. We wanted to build the community. Mm-hmm. So we took those steps to build the confidence of local artists, like no matter what genre. And then now I think we're at a point where the music scene now is really, in a sense, flourishing.
Yeah, I think across the board though.
Yeah, all this content is coming out. It doesn't matter what genre, and that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted people to put out music, and we didn't care what it was.
Yeah, I think in 2016, like 5 or 6 albums came out of, the music scene, and I think it's huge. I think it's huge for music on Guam.
Yeah, because with the more music that comes out, more music that comes out, and it's quality. There's a lot of quality coming out now.
Yeah.
As opposed to before, it all kind of sounded like shit. But now we have a lot of quality music coming out. People are really putting time into their shit. Like even the ones that are just dropping shit, the shit doesn't sound bad either.
Well, technology's getting better. That's for sure.
And people are getting better at using that technology. So with all that music coming out, it's really dope because this is what I wanted when I came back. I wanted people to really be putting out music. Like, people are backpacking GACs. Like, this shit's so tight to me. Like, there's Moist Land. There's the Massive Music Spotlight.
Yeah, now you got Binary Sunset shows.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm really loving all of that for everyone right now. And I think the band scene, when I came back, it was somewhat consistent. They had their own thing. I know there was a show.
I know the rock scene is they're huge supporters of each other, man.
Yeah, they'll show up.
Show up, dance, sing 3 inches away from their friend. Yeah.
Yeah. See, but we need that in like the hip hop community. We need that for each other. Everyone's just so egotistical. And me, I show up at everyone's shows. I don't gotta like you, but I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Cause like I know what it's like to be on stage and nobody's fucking watching.
Right.
But I'm having fun on stage.
Yeah.
It's just so much more fun when you're having fun on stage than you see like, a group of people having fun in the crowd too.
Right.
So I always try to be that person, and I'll always support other rappers. If they have a show, I'm gonna show up.
Yeah. Now that you have dropped an album, do you feel like you need to perform? Like where are you at with at least performance?
Honestly, I'm indifferent about performing. I feel like the first couple performances we did, it was just I had an opportunity to do it, so I was like, fuck it, why not? It'll be fun. I don't ever feel an obligation to, because in a sense, I don't really like performing. But at the same time, I love it. I love being in the spotlight. I love everyone looking at me. But at the same time, I hate the pressure of doing good while performing. 'Cause I think that's just the side of me. Like, I don't think I've had a bad show thus far. But that's just like because I've been doing music my whole life. It's something that I hold to a high expectation for myself. I don't want to fuck up at any point during the show. So that's like where I'm really indifferent. It's like, okay, I could fuck up, but I'm going to have fun while fucking up.
Yeah.
So I don't have an obligation. It's just if I don't have to, I'm not going to. Like, if someone's like if I see an upside or a benefit to doing that performance, like afterwards, then I'll do the performance. But like even when I go to open mics, I'll be like, "Oh, you're gonna rap?" Like, no. I'll be like, "Why? You're a rapper." I'm like, okay, I don't have anything to prove. So I don't understand. Like, I hate it when people ask me to freestyle. I will not freestyle.
Well, yeah, you're a rapper.
See, I hate that shit.
Rap something, dude. Rap for me.
That's a waste of my time.
Go beatbox. My friend can beatbox pretty good.
See, I hate that shit. Cause my thing is, like, okay, yeah, I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
But if I'm putting so much time into making music and putting out music, and you still need me to prove that I can rap, what the fuck is me putting out music for?
They want to just hear it in the flesh, right?
See? But don't make me freestyle. I'm not going to freestyle. I don't freestyle. I feel like that's just a waste of energy. The energy I'm using on freestyling, I could be using into making an actual song.
For sure.
And I hate that about people. They're like, oh, if you can't freestyle, you're not a rapper. I'm like, yeah, but if you could freestyle, I bet my song's going to be better than your song. Like, I don't know. it's weird because people like there's that stupid stigma that you have to be able to freestyle. Like I could freestyle, I just won't do it.
Yeah.
It's like a waste of energy, and I'm lazy.
And you know what you want, right?
Yeah.
I'm
very aware.
You're not a crowd pleaser.
Not at all.
And that's what I'm getting from you. And
yeah.
like,
if they like it, then they like it.
Yeah.
And gladly, I'm having positive feedback from the album.
For sure.
I wasn't expecting it. Like the 2 songs that are everyone's favorite right now, I was not expecting.
There's one that hits really hard. You did with Jed.
So there's
is it Limitation? Is there a song? Called
there's a song called Imagination. That's the last song.
That one. Yeah,
that's the one that I took quite some time writing, because when I was writing it,
I didn't like the sample.
Yeah, it was
nice.
A Shiloh Dynasty sample.
Okay.
So shout out to my producer for putting that together. His name's Crooks. I named the album after him, because it's all produced by him.
Okay.
But that one was really tough for me to write and then record, especially because I wrote that in commemoration to one of my best friends that passed away last year, D.
Okay.
So writing that was especially tough, but then getting into the studio and having to make it come to life was a totally different like thing for me, because I've never done that before.
Right.
So like there's points in the track where I had to redo because I couldn't get through get through a line. And then, I have my producer, and then I have Jed there, like just sitting in the room with me. Mm-hmm. Jed is he kind of understand, or he does understand the feeling of having to deal with that. So he would give me pointers like, hey, why don't you do it like this?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you do it like that? I'd be like, okay. And I trust his opinion. If he tells me to do something, I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's try it out. But towards the end of it, the last verse, I think I had to redo it like 2-3 times, because I think at some point I started crying. I was like, fuck, this is stupid.
Yeah. It really tapped in, though.
Yeah, I did. But that's one song I was not expecting anyone to even honestly. Yeah. That was just something that personally I felt like I would be satisfied with myself if I put it on there. Because me being an artist person, I don't cope with things well. And this is just an outlet. It's not a coping mechanism.
Yep. Is the song Fix? You have a song in there called Fix?
Yeah,
that's the song.
That's fucking,
yeah.
Jed goes stupid on that.
That's the song. Sorry, bro. I was thinking about that shit the whole time.
No, yeah. So, God, that fucking verse by him is fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. He's hard, dude.
The dude straight said, I'm gonna make her suck my balls, no boba. Like, what the fuck? Like, I remember we were in the room while he was writing it, and the dude is just, he's like into it. Like he's tapped in. He's just coming up with all these fucking lines. And at some point he was like, what are the bases again? And we're like, what do you mean? They're like the sex base. Like, what's first base, second base, and third base? I was like, I think third base is when you're like fingering her. Home run is like sex. He's like, okay, thanks. And then that's how he came up with like a hit third base, but my finger got stuck. And I'm like, this motherfucker is like really snapping on my own song right now. But I'm not mad about it, because that fucking verse.
Fuck, I wish we could listen to it right now.
It's on my phone.
Yeah, it would be nice if we can listen to it on the if you want to bring it up, at least that one, wherever you want to start it at.
The EP will be back up in a couple of days. We just got to deal with that.
Here's Matt desperately searching for it. I know, you should have seen me today. I was like, am I typing it wrong?
No, yeah, I had a lot of people mad at me.
Shit. Let's see if we can. No, never mind. Good.
Oh, here. Can you hear it, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This fucking guy, dude. He really murdered me on my own song, and I'm mad. I fucking hate this man. Fuck you, Jed. Fucking asshole.
It's good.
That's
It's
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
The hardest verse I've ever seen him do.
Yeah, and the beat's soft. You know what I mean? It's not like a super heavy beat. It's
yeah. You know how long it took to make that beat? Like an hour.
shit.
So like we were all I heard was the melody, and I'm just throwing in like, hey, I want to hear this. I want to hear this. I want the 808 to do that. And he's throwing it in there, and then he'll, my producer would do his little sauce on it. And it came out amazing because there's nothing too complex about the beat at all.
It's not.
It's literally a loop, but it's carried by the drums, like the percussion.
Yeah. What's your, I guess, what's your, God, what am I looking for right now? What's your process, your artistic process? Where does the melody come from? Where does the beat? Where do the words come out of? How do you? Right?
So it really just depends. Like sometimes I'll be bored and I'll start writing to like a YouTube beat.
Yeah.
More often than not, like when we're creating a new beat, we just fuck around on the keyboard, and if something sounds cool, then we'll put it in, and then that's where the melody comes from. It's
as far
awkward.
As far as you like your rapping style and how you come up with it,
it just
comes. You just go with whatever's coming.
It kind of feeds off each other.
Okay.
So I'll hear the melody, and then I'll have like right away after hearing the tempo of the melody and how the melody's coming together.
Mm-hmm.
With that, it'll feed into like at least an idea. So I'll start mumbling, just coming up with like a tempo, and then as things get added in, like drums and harmonies and whatnot, the flow will change, and then over time, like once I find like a flow that I like, or like a rhythm that I like, then I'll stick to that, and then it'll just go from there.
Just kind of go from there.
Yeah, it's never set unless we create a beat that is similar to one that we've made before. And we have like so many like throwaway beats that I used to want to use, but I don't want to use anymore because it's going to sound like something else.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I don't know. Honestly, it's really fun, especially with him, because him and I having the same like thought process going through it. Super, super fun, super organic. And that's what I appreciate about it, because I know that there's, everyone has their producer duo. At least on Island, because everyone's so tight in their groups that they go through the same things. So I think like they would understand exactly what I'm talking about, how it's like they just feed into each other. I like the producer and the rapper, they feed into each other, and in turn it creates it turns into a product that they're happy with.
Right.
But it just so happens that we take very, very long.
Huh.
But
perfecting the craft, right?
Yeah, it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I wanted to drop this before New Year's. What did I drop? I dropped it like last week. I don't even remember how long it's been. But
yeah, it's been about a week.
Yeah, so it's feedback has been great.
I
think
I even mentioned it in the last podcast I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I might have to check that out.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember in what context, but
yeah. It's somewhere in there. I'll find it.
Mm.
I'm fucking blast you on Twitter for it. This man was talking shit about my EP. No, but yeah, honestly, I'm surprised at the feedback. Even after I announced it maybe like 4 or 5 days before it actually released. The feedback was great.
Yeah, I remember on Twitter, you're talking shit, and then people would be like, says the guy who hasn't released an album yet, right?
But little did they know I had been sitting on it. I was just working. I was making sure I was happy with every track.
Right.
Because I don't want to be like one of those rappers that's like, oh, that's good enough. Like, I want to be happy with it before it goes out.
For sure.
And, I'm really glad that I have Jed to help me out with that, because he's a great engineer. Really knows sound. He can make me sound like whatever the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it great.
Okay.
So a lot of the credit for the way that the EP turned out is to him, because he probably put in the most work. You know, like there's my part, but really all my job is to put input on the beat and the engineering and yell into a mic. They're doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Right.
Sure. So I give them more credit than I do myself.
The wet work.
Yeah, they were really like, you know, knee deep in that fucking shit. I
Sure.
appreciate them a lot. But yeah, little did people know I was working on that EP for over a year.
Dang, bro.
I just wasn't
really
ready
taking your
to-
time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it was a matter of like creating new music, and then when I had a good amount to choose from, it
Mhm.
was picking out what I wanted on there.
Right.
And then from there, when I picked what I wanted on there, we would go back, listen to those songs, and then we would work on them again. So, but a lot of that is me just putting input and then them doing all the heavy lifting. So,
It came out to a really great product.
yeah, and
Fuck.
I'm glad, you know.
Put it back on, man.
God, it fucking it'll be
Gotta
back.
put it back on
'cause
before you came here.
I'm gonna, dude. I was trying, but I was like, I'm not gonna rush it, because if I rush it, something's gonna fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome album. Matt, how long have we been going here for? A couple
2
hours.
hours and
Yeah,
4 minutes.
Oh,
a
it's
couple hours,
not bad.
man. Yeah, man. Let's start cutting out here. I'm getting
Yeah,
kinda
for sure,
hungry
for sure.
here. But
I'm gonna go home and make me some fucking itchy band before I go drink.
that's your Valentine's itchy band.
Fuck yeah, dude. This morning, someone was like, "Oh, what are you doing for Valentine's?" I'm like, honestly, right now I'm cooking rice, spam, and I don't know. I texted them. I was like, I'm making eggs, rice, and meat in my underwear right now.
It's where you want to be.
Hell yeah. I was so comfortable.
Yeah.
I gave no fucks. I made some itchy band too. Just throw this fucking noodles on top. It's great.
Making me hungry. All right, let's cut out of here. Push out anything you want, dude. How can people follow you? Can they download your album, listen to your album, whatever it may be?
Shoot. Follow me on Snapchat or not fucking Snapchat. Don't follow my Snapchat. That shit's fucking weird. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Straight Up Oni. It's the same for both. iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud is Oni Wan. You basically spell Obi-Wan without the B. Switch it for an N because I'm smart as fuck. And I'm avoiding copyright. I was supposed to be Oni Wan Kenobi, that whole thing, but I took it off because I'm not an idiot. Yeah. The EP will be back up on iTunes and Spotify within the next day and a half. I'll be dropping it on SoundCloud as well for the people that don't have access to Apple Music and Spotify. And if all goes according to plan, I'll be dropping it on YouTube as well for people that don't have any of those.
Any music videos at all? Planned?
We won't talk about that.
Okay. That means it's planned, everybody. Anytime he doesn't want to talk about something.
You'll see the teaser as it happens.
Hell yeah.
As of right now, all I'm gonna say is just look out for mid 2019. It's 2019, right?
2019.
Mid 2019.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for an announcement.
Cool.
That's it.
Hey man, I'm a fan of your
Thank you.
artistic I don't want to say value, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just keep doing what you're doing. You're still young, dude.
Yeah.
So
A lot to do still.
for sure, dude. You got all your 20s
I
to
still gotta
make all the mistakes.
I still gotta hit puberty. I'm like 12.
Like I said, dude, you grew in the last 8 months, right? So
Yeah, dude, that's fucking weird, bro. Like
I
Maybe-
swear to God, you just look like a bigger person.
maybe I'm just standing taller.
I don't know. I mean,
did
I'm gonna
start-
have to look at the photo. I'm gonna have to compare the photos from the last time you were here. And
I did
fucking
start
swear.
wrestling again, so maybe my back is stronger. I don't know. They did kick my ass yesterday. I was supposed to go today, but I had this. I was like, okay, I could miss one day.
Cool.
They're
Thank you.
gonna kick my ass again.
I really appreciate it, bro.
Dude, thank you
and
for having me
let's
again.
do it again.
For sure.
Yeah.
Give me another 8 months. Maybe I'll be 6 foot.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for listening to another episode of the podcast. Maddie here.
Shout out to
Love
Trends.
you. There you go. Shout out to
Trends. Come check me out when I'm. Oh wait, no, don't check me out. Check me out, or like check them out when I'm not working. But yeah, check them out.
that always works.
All right, we good.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening. And as always, Maddie loves you. I love you so much. Till next time. Peace.